Hello once again, Monster Hobbies Model Car Garage Mechanics. Welcome back to another great unboxing video. Today we have another small one for you. This is one I've had in my collection for a very long time. I think now it would say Atlantis up here, but as you can see, this is an old Revell kit. This is Revell's 1/48 scale 1953 Ford pickup with the Motorcycle Policeman. And this is a really cool older kit. So if you enjoy these wonderful models, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and visit our website at www.monster-hobbies.ca. So now without further ado, we'll go down to the bench and see what's in the box. Now we wind the clock all the way back to 1956 as we check out this really awesome Revell Authentic Kit 1956 Ford pickup truck. Now this model is accurately scaled, comes with a motorcycle, a police officer, truck driver, plastering tools and decals. And the decals are so that you can build the L&J Young plastering contractor truck. Now this is an all plastic kit, completely formed parts, ready for painting and assembling. Now this model kit is in 1/48 scale, which is the same scale as the O-gauge model trains. And this little car was intended to be put on your model train set back in the day so that you could have a little diorama of L&J Young asking a police officer for directions, and the police officer, of course, on his Harley-Davidson motorcycle, which I believe this is what it's supposed to be. Maybe a panhead? I'm not too up on my old Harleys. And in the back there's actually a whole bunch of cool stuff for the Contractor company. So without further ado, let's check this thing out. Now before we actually pull the lid off, I thought I would show the side of the box. Now the side of the box doesn't really pertain to the model, but it shows you all the other models that were available at the time. Now this is a 1995 edition. Monogram and Revell got together as Revell Monogram and put out a few of these kits just for fun, and this truck being one of them. So we have the Douglas Skyrocket, the Bell P-39 Air Cobra, the Battleship New Jersey, Republic Thunder Streak, the PT boat, and then we have a Chance Vought Cutlass, a Chris Craft boat, this Skiroski helicopter, and the Tally-Ho coach. On the other side of our model, we have the DC-7 Airliner, the B-24 Liberator, the SS United States, a C-3 Freighter, a destroyer. We also have the B-47 Stratojet and the B-52 Stratofortress. Now without further ado, let's take the lid off this box and see what's inside. So right away we have our instruction sheet here, and we'll take a look at that in a minute. We also have our decal sheet, which we'll look at the end of the video, and then we've got various parts trees. Now there is no clear plastic for the windshield, so it's sort of a make-believe windshield. Would look good in a photograph. As you can see, there are a lot of little parts in here, and it does look good. There's barrels, and there's a front grille. We've got our pickup bed right there, and the roof, or roof, depends how you say it. And then rear axle, and one of the rear fenders, and a bunch of other little goodies. Now we'll take a look at our instruction sheet, and this is from one of those good old back in the day times when Revell didn't actually mold a one-piece body. It was actually molded in several pieces, as we've sort of seen by taking things out of the box. So they hadn't quite figured out the one-piece body. That came into more the later 50s, but for now we have a neat little kit. So it says, interesting facts about your new Ford pickup truck. One of the most utilitarian commercial vehicles in use today, the Ford pickup represents a combination of passenger car styling and functional industrial design. Used by countless operators, this truck shows up on farms, in factories, and in short, anywhere there is a need for quick moving of small loads. The F100 model is powered with a short-stroke Y engine, so yeah, this is 1958, because the 53 is still using the flathead. Okay, short-stroke Y engine and has many of the same safety features found in the Ford passenger cars. These include the deep-centered lifeguard steering wheel and lifeguard door latches. So that was definitely 1956. Large wraparound windshield and rear. Large wraparound windshields and rear windows add to the general beauty and safety of the truck. Styled for beauty as well as duty, these trucks are outstanding in the field of motor transportation. Okay, so this is it when you get it all together. And they're giving you color callouts. So they're suggesting blue and black inside the engine bay, silver, which I think is for the grille. Can't really tell where it's going. Black for the front bumper, silver for the hubcap, and black wheels, of course. Black running boards. And then you got silver for one of the what do you call this? It's a tub for plastering. And then you've got tan on your barrels, and there's decals for the barrels. Now we get into the bike over here. You got silver for the headlight and white, and silver and black. So black and white police motorcycle. And then you've got the policeman himself, who's wearing a blue uniform with black boots. Remember, kids, each Revell kit is more fun than the last. All right, so what we have is a reproduction that was actually on the original instructions. This is the Revell catalog. So once you built this Ford, you could actually look at the back and get inspired for what you want to build next. So we have New as Tomorrow, the guided missile cruiser USS Boston, Seagoing Savior, U.S. Coast Guard Cutter Campbell, U.S. Air Force Sea Rescue. So this is the Air Sea Rescue Helicopter. And then we have Faster Than Sound, the F100 Sea Super Sabre. We've got Mutiny on the Bounty, HMS Bounty. Now there is a movie called Mutiny on the Bounty as well. It came out, I don't know if it was in the 50s, but definitely the 40s. Russia's Jet Threat, the Russian Bomber Bison. So again, another cool kit. Here we have the War Veteran, the Long Tom gun with tractor. This is a M-2 155mm gun that saw action on all World War II fighting fronts. And then we have the dream car, the Lincoln Futura. This is 1/25th scale. And a lot of you know this as becoming the Batmobile later on. And just look at this full-color 24-page catalog. Ooh! Over 100 Revell authentic kits. They're all in this big 24-page full-color catalog. Every single model in the Revell line. It's packed with actual photographs to show you what your finished model will look like, plus descriptions of the models and facts about the originals. Planes, ships, cars, guns, gift sets, combat models. You can't look them over and choose your next. Oh, sorry, you can look them over and choose your next. There's even a handy checklist to keep track of your model collection. Use the coupon in this page to order your copy of the Big Revell catalog. Do it right away. There's modeling fun waiting for you on every page. Now, that coupon would have been right there. But apparently it's not there anymore. Now here we have the one-page instruction manual, which is really nice because after this time period, Revell just started going nuts on their instructions. You know, they'd have glue the wheel here would be step 1. Glue this down here would be step 2. Glue the other wheel would be step 3, and each one's illustrated. So I like this kind of, I like to call this the Johan sort of instruction sheet because that's the way Johan did it as well in all their kits. But yeah, basically it's a one-page explosion. So it says follow numbered steps carefully for ease in building your model. And then it gives you a little thing about using Revell type S cement for best results. Styrene, I guess. And says, no painting. Paint all details before assembling. Turn chassis upside down. Tells you the step-by-step for gluing everything together. And they also have number keys. So first off, you've got your springs going in here onto your frame. And then your wheels being glued onto the axle and the tie rod in there. Wheels going on the back. There's your rear axle, your rear cross brace, and then the leaf springs in the back. And you also have your spare tire being glued in here at an angle. So again, really easy to follow and understand. If you want bigger pictures, you can also take a look at AMT's 53 Ford because the assembly is basically the same. Here we get into steps 2 and 3. So we've got our floorboards being glued down with our bench seat, and then our steering column and steering wheel. And then we have our engine bay here. So you've got your firewall being glued into the inner fenders, and that's pretty easy. It says paint all detail before assembling. So now we flip over into panel 3, and it shows the two-piece truck going together with a dashboard in between. There is no windshield. And then our roof glues over the top. Now the driver figure, you paint them all up and you put them in on the seat before you glue the roof in, trap them in place. But it does say, note, twist driver so leg clears steering column and left arm passes through left cab window, then cement. Now cement the cab top, part 23, to right and left body panels. So that would be him getting trapped in the truck. And then we have our final panel, panel 4, and you can see the barrels being glued together with some decals on there. We've got our bed, and then this is the pan. Let's see what it actually calls this thing. Mortar tub. So it's a mortar tub for doing your plastering. Okay, so there's 2 barrels. There's also these parts number 37. So picks. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to read this right in here. Let's see, after truck bed, right in the fenders. Now cement barrel halves with pins, part 34 to 35 without pins. Now you may cement or place the barrels, mortar tub, picks, shovels, and a hoe to the truck bed, and then the tailgate and all the rest goes on. Okay, so we know what these parts are now. So then you also have your rear fenders being glued to the side of the bed. This would be the back, the tailgate. You got the Ford decal going right there. Then you've got your hood in here. Now remember, these are little emblems, so you'll have to paint those. There is an engine in this kit, which is really good. So you've got your overhead valve Y engine. Why not? And then there's the front timing cover, and the little water jackets go up in there. You've got your air cleaner and carburetor plugging into the top with the intake manifold, and your exhaust pipes coming out there. And all this gets dropped into here, and there's even a radiator up front. So if you really want to try to do some micro detailing under here just to liven up the engine bay, you could make an upper radiator hose here just by bending some styrene, heat up one of the parts tree runners, and then pull it, so you got a hose. And then there you've got your front grille being glued into place. Now you could use a Molotow chrome pen right in here and chrome it all up. Remember, down here is not going to be chrome because that's a body panel. And then again, you can chrome your front bumper, glue it into place. Here we have the motorbike, which is a 2-piece arrangement, handlebars and the bike itself. And then our police officer, who is showing our contractor the way to go. And he also has a stand. Now you could also drill a little pin, a couple of pins into the bottom of his shoe if you're building this as a diorama and a little scene, and then stick the pins through holes in the table and glue them right down onto the table, so there is no little stand making them look like a little tiny toy figure. Now we're going to take a look at our first parts tree, and here we have our engine block, and as you can see, it is quite tiny. Everything's molded in place. The exhaust pipes sticking straight up, molded in place. We also have our front bench seat, and we've got the right-hand side of the truck. We've got a drive shaft there. There's our front water pump. And then these are the valve covers for that engine, and our police officer. Officer Jones. I don't know. But yeah, there's the door handle there. A little bit of flasher on that window opening. The front of the body goes across into the back of the body. There's our seat underneath. Now we do have some little pins sticking up. I'm not sure if those are mold marks or they're intentional. We'll take a look once we get into the engine bay. There's that timing cover. Look at how nicely detailed that is. Once the camera stops blurring. There we go. Okay. There we go. Yeah, so that's looking really nice. Police officer has a mold mark on his back. You can easily scrape that off. Oh, and on his boots. So you'd have to fill and shape those. Little mold mark on the bottom of the valve covers could easily be sanded off. But taking a look at the officer, looks really nice. Just like a real officer should. So again, some really cool little parts to get us started. Now, since we started with the right-hand side of the body, here's the left-hand side. And we've got our fuel cap right there, just like it should be. Here's the driver asking for directions. Hey, where am I going? And then there we've got the hoe. And then we've got, I forget what that part was. Oh, the steering column. Oh yeah, that's the brake pedal, or gas pedal, right on the column. Then we've got the two shovels, and we have our frame right in here. Again, the frame looks pretty nice. That's the back of the transmission. And we've also got our tailpipes going in there. You can see the tailpipe is broken to allow the axle to fit in. We've got a license plate molded back there. The driver figure looks pretty nice, although he is full of flash. We'll call him Flash Thompson. I don't know. There. It's funny, there's no flash inside the window opening. Inside's quite smooth. There are some mold marks on the inner fender. Hopefully we won't see them. But the issue is when we glue this body together, so there it is, you have to be careful because there is a gap right there where the two halves meet. So I would recommend sanding that as flush as you can, and then it should go together. Maybe ignore the pins. But overall, again, this is really nicely detailed and should go together without too much trouble. Our next parts tree includes the floor pan, as well as these raised blocks for our seat to sit up in the right position. We have the front axle and the tie rods. We also have our dashboard and some leaf springs, possibly the front ones, and a lot of flash. Now looking at the dashboard, we have the little instrument cluster going in there. Again, really nicely detailed. Look over here, we've got some X braces underneath the running boards for some support. Nice and smooth, got nice texture right in there on the floor mat. It's hard to even tell if we'll be able to see the floor mat once this is together, but you got to give credit where credit's due. This does look amazing for something that's supposed to sit on a model train set that's going to be pretty far away from the action. So again, really nice detail on old Revell's part. Our next parts tree includes the inner fenders here, and there are two holes, so that was on the engine as you recall, so don't sand those off then. We've got our police motorcycle as well as the handlebars. There's the tire that goes up underneath, and here is another tire on its own. There we've got our little steering wheel, and then we've got the tub. We've got our radiator here and one of the picks. So let's just take a look at that detail again. Really nice. You got the saddlebags on the motorbike. Got that wonderful Harley V engine. You got the kickstand in there. Exhaust on the side. The little spring bicycle type seats. And you've got a fan molded into the back of the radiator. Wonderful tire detail. The bottom engine pan right there. Mold marks again, which I have to clean up. But overall, looks good. There's even a scuffy detail inside that tub. Looks really great. So there you go. More wonderful parts for a very tiny model. Our next parts tree includes the two barrels, the front bumper, which you could paint with the Molotow chrome pen, as well as the rear springs. And then if we turn it over, you can see the wonderful Ford grille here and the front apron. So again, looks really nice. Almost, the headlights almost look deep like the Chevy from back in the day, but that's okay. There's those wonderful springs. Again, really nice model, some mold marks. Always got to clear those off of these kits. There's flash around here, so that barrel will have to be clean. But again, really nice for a plaster contractor truck. And here we have a bunch of parts that were at one point on a parts tree that fell off loose, except for this one. And that would be our rear fenders. And then we've got our pickup truck bed and the tailgate. Here's our rear axle, the heavy duty axle. We also have our firewall right there and three of the wheels. Got our hood and our roof. Then one of the picks, and this would be a suspension component. And then this is the stand that the police officer stands on, which again you can tell is a little bit, I don't know, not inspiring. So, but take a look at the detail on the tire. You actually have the nice little pie crust around the edges, as well as the wheel center, and then it's a little bit raw on the edge. I don't know if you could spin that in a drill, but you can easily sand the edge. Now, there are no hubcaps on this kit, as you notice, so the wheel actually goes in there, and I do believe it goes pop. Yeah, and that's a little lip on there. So you got to make sure that this is absolutely smooth all the way around, or else your wheel's going to bind, and there is a mold mark in there as well. So make sure you clear those off before you actually attach them. Same as the front axle. But again, detail on here is quite nice for what it is. It's got the big Ford letters right there. You don't even need a decal there. You can easily just dry brush that. It also has little chains in the corners here and here. And right underneath is a mold mark, so be very careful there. And of course the other side is nice and smooth, free of mold marks. You know, why not put them on the inside? And there we've got our truck bed, and it's always rough on these things on the sides in the mold. I think they need to do that in order to put some extra plastic in on those sides for some reason. But again, it's nice and smooth in here. Could use a little cross sanding, smooth it out even more. And the truck bed does not have any wood in there, but it does have the little bars, so, or the rails, I guess they are, except where the mold marks are, one of them is at an angle. So again, you got to be careful in there. Taking a look at the hood, you've got the Ford emblem, the shield right there, as well as the 1956 side spears with the little circle in there, denoting the new V8 engine. There's a little tab, and it doesn't really look dead center, does it? Anyway, you've got 4 mold marks in there, which would have to be cleaned up. And then we've got our roof over here with that nice wide rear window, and a great big mold button right in there, as well as 2 mold marks. Now you could actually cut a piece of clear plastic and glue it across the back here. Flat one would be easy. I don't know about the curve of the windshield. That might need a vacuform piece if you're so inclined. Back of the fenders also has a great big rod right there. Now you could cut that out if you want. I don't know how that would interfere with the wheel. Maybe it doesn't. It's all up to you, of course. It's your model. You build for you. Or you could even assemble this if you want. Anyway, so there's our front suspension piece, some radius rods. But again, overall, like I said, for something that was designed for a model train set, you are getting quite a good value out of this kit. Last but not least, you get this sweet little decal sheet with the Allen & Young plastering contractor decal for the door. And then you've got these different ones. So you've got this end up for the barrels. And we've got our license plate here. We've got a Ford lettered decal. And then the quick dry plaster decals, which I do believe are going on the barrels. Oh, okay, barrel head has this end up, and then the barrel sides would have the quick dry plaster. And I was right, it is a 56 Ford pickup. That's pretty good. I didn't even read that in the instructions or anything until this actual decal sheet. Well, I really hope you enjoyed that unboxing video where you got to see Revell's 1/48 scale. I believe this is a 1956 Ford pickup truck. Yes, because it's got the round little things on there. I think I said 53 at the beginning of the video. Anyway, I still hope you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel with all your friends and family. And visit us once again on our website, www.monster-hobbies.ca, to see what interesting model kits we have for sale today. So until next time, everybody, happy model building, and we'll see you in the next video.